There are many things that stand at the pinnacle of power in Kagurabachi. Rather it's sorcery that's passed down through the generations, or something artificial like the flame bone. However, the one thing that stands above all else is the enchanted blades. From what we currently know, there are 7 enchanted blades, with only 6 being used in the war. However, of these 7 enchanted blades, we've only seen 2 used to their full extent, with one being used in combat but not by its true wielder. So for now, we can only really theorize about the 4 we haven't seen yet. Although we have gotten character panels which show the faces of these wielder, and we've met 2 of them, we haven't seen any of them use their blades or even gotten panels showing them use their blades yet. Uhura was the first sword bearer that we met, yet unlike Samura, who we'll discuss later, we pretty much have nothing to go off of what his fighting style with his blade will look like. However, Uhura does idolize Kunishigi and sees him and Shiro in almost godlike ways. And he was also trained by Samura in his fighting style, which Uhura's fighting style does mirror quite a bit. So I'd expect his blade's spiritual representation, which all enchanted blades so far have had, maybe take inspiration from the 2 people he looks up to the most. But from what we have now, I'd guess that his spiritual representation will be a fox. Twice now, Uhura has managed to slip through the fingers of the Hishaku and escape, and I think his sword's representation could reflect his sly nature. Now, for abilities going off if it's a fox, I believe that his first ability would be able to steal other enemies' sorceries. Maybe not use them in his own right because that would be too much like Akka, but just to be able to temporarily disable them. The second ability, I believe, would reflect his training with Samura and be able to take one of his enemy's senses away mid-fight. Maybe it'll be at random or a specific ability. I think it'd be more cool if it's random because then there's a chance to it every fight. And for the final ability, I think it'll be something similar to Enten's Nishiki, where the user will cloak themselves in spiritual energy. But instead of it boosting all his stats like Nishiki, it makes him more agile, similar to how a fox is. With Samura, we've seen a lot more of his fighting style compared to his student, and I believe that his sword's representation will be a crane. Samura's place of residence in the series is a temple, and he fights in front of a statue of the Buddha. Not to mention, he blinded himself to prevent himself from falling to temptation, which all connect him to spiritual beliefs. So I think having his sword's spiritual representation be an animal with great religious importance make it a really good connection. Also, Samura has a conversation about Chihiro involving killing people, and he also reflects on the fact that he's probably going to hell, which could connect to how the crane represents near eternal life and be a reflect of the blood that's on Samura's hands. First ability would be to darken the arena around him, making his opponent's situation the same as him, and whatever fighting style the opponent has become completely useless in the scenario they're now in. His second ability would be to conjure and control gusts of winds that pushes enemies around, causing them to make sounds, so he can find their location, which is perfect for his fighting style. And for his final ability, I will believe it'll give his opponent bad luck for the remainder of the fight. Cranes are associated with good fortune, so to have a final ability give your opponent the fate of every minor convenience possible during a fight would be a perfect mirror to what the crane represents. As for the other wielders, since we've only seen their faces, it's really hard to say, but if I had to guess, the blade wielder who looks very similar to Omni-Man, I'm leaning towards him being maybe some kind of chef due to how he looks. So I don't think he'll be fish because that's Chihiro's thing, but maybe like squid would be pretty cool. And for big eyes, I have like nothing. Her design looks cool though. Well, that's all I have to say for this video. I'll make another one when we finally get more information about the other 2 users. And make sure to check out my Twitter for the poll I'll be doing for my next video. See you guys then.